Welcome to the Basics of Java tutorial 13. In this tutorial, we will be discussing about object-oriented programming, overloading and overriding. The topics that are covered in this tutorial are method arguments, method overloading, constructor overloading, super chaining, and finally we have method overriding. In this section, let's discuss method arguments in place of parameters. The only difference is the arguments are passed to the method parameters and the values of the arguments will be copied to the method parameters. Let's discuss method arguments with an example. As you see here, we have a class mySquare, and inside that opening and closing places of mySquare block we have side variable which is of type integer, followed by two methods. One is setSide and another is getSide. In the method setSide, we have a parameter side which is of type integer and it is a primitive data type. We also have another class that is arguments example. Inside the arguments example class, we have the method getSquareArea. For the getSquareArea, we have the parameter square which is of type mySquare, that is the class type. mySquare is a class and the square which follows mySquare class is a reference. The parameter square can hold the reference to the objects of class mySquare. Inside the method block of getSquareArea, we calculate the area of the square and finally we return the area which is integer. We have the main method inside which we are creating an object of class mySquare, and we also have an object of class arguments example, and the two objects are square and arc. Here we have two variables, one is area and another is side. We have initialized to area to 0 and side to 25. Using the reference variable to the object of class mySquare, we are setting the side of a square using the method setSide by passing the argument side to the method setSide. By passing side as an argument to the method setSide, the values stored in the variable side, that is the value 25, will be copied to the method parameter side. For the method setSide, the variable side is a local variable. That is, we are making a pass by value here. Finally, we are passing the reference variable square as an argument to the method getSquareArea to get the area of the square. This type of argument passing is called pass by reference, since we are passing the reference as an argument to the function or method. In this section, we will discuss method overloading. In a particular class, we can have methods with the same name but with different parameters and different return types. Using the constructor invokes, and if we pass two arguments, the third constructor comes into the picture. As you see, for different constructors, the argument list is different. Hence, these constructors are called legal constructors. In this section, we will discuss constructor overloading and method overloading with an example in Eclipse. Here we have already created Java programming file overloading example.java. Inside the package tutorial13.examples, and we have another program file that is myrectangle.java in the same package. In myrectangle.java program file, we have class rectangle, which we have member variables width and height, which are of type integer, and we have got constructor myRectangle. And as you see in the constructor block, we have initialized the width to 200 and height to 100. In this class myRectangle, we have two constructors. For the first constructor, we do not have any arguments that are passed to this constructor. Inside the second constructor myRectangle, we are setting the class variables width and height, the arguments that are passed as parameters. As you can see, we have got the method getArea, which has got 4 different flavors as we had discussed in the previous section. We are discussing the same example getArea in Eclipse. The first method returns the area of the rectangle using the default width and height. The second method returns the area of the rectangle by taking rectangle as an input parameter. The third flavor of getArea method returns the value of area by making use of the parameters length and width that are passed to the method. Here the return type is float. In the overloading example.java program file, we have the main method. In the main method, let's create an object reference of class myRectangle and calculate the area using our and overloaded methods and print the same on the console output. Here in this example, we have an object of class rectangle using the keyword new, and we have used the default constructor which has no arguments being passed, and in the following line we are printing the area using the method getArea without passing any arguments to the method. In the second object, that is rectangle 2, we are making use of the constructor into which the two arguments are passed. Here the two arguments are passed, which are width and length. The first value 5 is considered as width and the second value is considered as length. The value of the member variables take these two values 5 and 4, and in the following line we are printing the value of area using system.out.println using the method getArea, which has no arguments. And in the third example, we are creating the two objects of class myRectangle, rectangle 3 and rectangle 4. The rectangle 3 object is created using the constructor myRectangle into which two arguments are passed, 15 and 10. And for the rectangle 4 object, we are using the default constructor in which we have no arguments. And in the following line, we are printing the value of area using system.out.println. The method we are making use of here is get area. We are using the reference rectangle 4 and we are passing the rectangle 3 as an input parameter. And now let's run our program using the quick run button. Here on the console output you can see that the area calculated using the default constructor is 20,000. This area is the resultant of the multiplication of width and length, which are set as default in the default constructor. And in the second line we can see that the area using the overloaded constructor and the default method is 20, which is 5 multiplied by 4. 5 and 4 are the arguments which have been passed to the constructor. As you see in the third line, the value of area is calculated as 150, which is the product of 15 and 10, which have been passed as arguments. In this section, we will be discussing about the constructor and a call to the superclass. We have already discussed object of class human. Then if we call the method setName, the statements present in the method setName of class human will be called or executed. In this tutorial, we have learned that we can pass the arguments to a method while making a call to the method. We can also implement the methods with same name in different ways to perform differently by keeping the argument type and different number of arguments. The method implemented with the same name and the same number of arguments and the type is called as method overriding. You can have your hands on to create a Java class to calculate the compound interest using the method overloading and method overriding by taking different argument types and different number of arguments. Finally, you can print the balance and interest on console. In the next tutorial, we will be discussing about the modifiers. Thank you one and all.